Motorcycles, cars, music, three things that I grew up in, and I'm blessed enough to be able to continue. My shop is very unique. We do things differently here. For us, it's all about making them as stylish and beautiful as they can be.
What if I told you that Danny Koker, the guy everyone called the Count from Counting Cars, completely disappeared from TV and then came back making more money than ever before? What if I told you that behind all those cool cars and rock star looks, Danny was fighting battles that almost destroyed everything he built? Today, we're diving deep into the shocking truth about what really happened to Danny Koker after Counting Cars ended. And trust me, you won't believe where his life went next. You see, when Counting Cars suddenly stopped airing in December 2021, fans were left with so many questions. Where did Danny go? Why did the show end so quietly? And what was he doing with his life? Well, after digging deep into his story, I discovered some incredible truths that will blow your mind. Danny's journey after the show is filled with heartbreak, triumph, and a comeback story that's more dramatic than any episode of his TV show. Let me take you back to the beginning so you understand just how far Danny has come. Danny Koker wasn't born into fame or fortune. He was just a regular kid from Cleveland, Ohio, who grew up in a family that lived and breathed cars. His dad worked for Ford, and everyone in his family was connected to the car world somehow. But here's what made Danny different. His father was also a talented musician who played with a famous gospel group called the Cathedral Quartet. This mix of cars and music would shape Danny's entire life in ways nobody could have predicted. When Danny was just 8 years old, his father gave him a motorcycle. Now, most kids would just ride it and have fun, but not Danny. He took that bike apart piece by piece, then put it back together again. That's when he discovered his true passion, figuring out how things worked. From that moment on, he spent every free moment working on bikes and cars, taking them apart, fixing them, and making them better than before. By the time Danny was 16, he was already making engines faster and cars cooler than anyone thought possible. His first big project was a 1979 Camaro Z28. Most teenagers would have kept it exactly the way it was, but Danny had bigger dreams. He transformed that car into a street-legal race car, proving to everyone that he could handle incredibly tough projects, even without any formal training. But Danny's story gets even more interesting. In 1990, he tried something completely different. He became a TV host for a late-night horror movie show called Saturday Fright at the Movies. Every Saturday night, people in Las Vegas would tune in to watch him introduce cheesy horror movies while dressed up like a vampire. He wore sunglasses, a cape, and added his own humor to the show. His character loved Elvis, motorcycles, and classic cars, just like the real Danny. People absolutely loved his funny accent and jokes, and that's where his nickname, The Count, was born. The show wasn't just about scary movies, though. Danny brought his love for cars and music into everything he did, making it more entertaining than anyone expected. Even after the show ended in 2001, people still called him The Count, and that nickname would follow him for the rest of his life. In 1998, Danny decided to turn his passion into a business. He started a small shop called Count's Customs in Las Vegas, naming it after his TV character. The shop focused on customizing motorcycles, but Danny had a unique style that nobody else could copy. He didn't just fix bikes and cars. He turned them into absolute masterpieces that took people's breath away. One of his first major projects was a 1932 Ford Roadster, and when people saw what he had created, they knew Count's Customs was something special. Word spread incredibly fast, and the shop started getting more and more customers. By 2002, Danny had to move to a much bigger space just to handle all the work. He expanded from motorcycles to classic cars and even started making custom parts that nobody else could create. Then, in 2004, everything changed when Danny got a phone call that would make him famous nationwide. Ozzy Osbourne wanted a custom motorcycle, and Danny delivered something that blew everyone's minds. The bike had glowing paint and bat-themed details that got national attention and made Count's Customs famous across the entire country. Over the next few years, the shop grew beyond anyone's wildest dreams. By 2010, it wasn't just a shop anymore. Danny had turned it into a complete brand. He opened a tattoo parlor, a rock bar called Count's Vamped, and even started selling merchandise. Count's Customs became a massive 30,000 square foot workshop with over 50 employees, proving that Danny's passion had grown into something bigger than he ever imagined possible. But the real breakthrough came on July 19, 2009, when Danny appeared on Pawn Stars for the first time. He was there to look at a 1968 Mustang GT Fastback, and his charm and incredible knowledge stood out immediately. Viewers absolutely loved him, and over the next 3 years, he appeared in 23 episodes of Pawn Stars, becoming a fan fave. Oh, alright. However, things almost ended badly after his second appearance. Danny and Rick Harrison got into a heated argument over the value of a 1957 Chevy Bel Air. The argument got so intense that Danny actually walked off the set, and producers had to step in to calm everyone down. Fortunately, Rick called Danny personally later and promised he could have more control over his parts on the show. This helped fix their relationship, and their friendly arguments on screen became something viewers couldn't get enough of. The idea for Counting Cars happened almost by accident in June 2011. A producer named Brent Montgomery was visiting Count's Customs to film for Pawn Stars when he witnessed something incredible. He watched Danny negotiate to buy a rare 1970 Plymouth Superbird, offering $75,000 right on the spot. Montgomery immediately thought this would make an amazing TV show, and he was absolutely right. On August 13, 2012, Counting Cars premiered on the History Channel, and it was an instant hit. The show followed Danny and his team as they bought, restored, and sold classic cars and motorcycles. What made the show special was how it showed every part of the process, from Danny spotting a car on the street to the final reveal after it was completely restored. The first episode brought everything full circle by featuring the restoration of a 1968 Mustang Fastback, the same type of car Danny had looked at on Pawn Stars. It drew 3.1 million viewers, which was much higher than the History Channel's usual ratings. The success was so incredible that they ordered more episodes immediately, and filming started just 2 weeks later. The show quickly became one of the most popular programs on the History Channel. By the end of the first season, it was averaging 2.9 million viewers per episode, and in some cases, it even outperformed Pawn Stars, which was the show that had made Danny famous in the first place. By 2014, Counting Cars was being shown in 150 countries and translated into 38 languages. In Germany, it became the most watched American reality show with 1.5 million viewers per episode. The show's success had some unexpected effects too. In 2015, Las Vegas police reported a 37% increase in classic car thefts because criminals were apparently inspired by the show to target the specific types of cars that were featured. Danny even had to warn car owners to take extra care of their vehicles. Danny's unique look also helped make the show incredibly popular. He had long hair, a beard, and always wore black clothes with skull designs. His style wasn't just for TV. It showed his genuine love for rock music and his band Count 77. Fans absolutely loved how he mixed incredible car knowledge, smart business sense, and his genuine rocker personality. Danny also had some fun quirks that viewers found entertaining. He believed a leather jacket he had owned since 1989 brought him luck when buying cars. He never washed that jacket, and it even had over $10,000 sewn into a pocket for spontaneous car purchases. One moment that really showed Danny's big heart happened when he restored a 1981 Corvette that had belonged to a Vietnam veteran who had passed away. Danny gave the finished car to the veteran's widow, and he was so moved by the moment that he actually cried during the reveal. This episode became the most watched in the show's entire history with 4.3 million viewers. As Counting Cars became more successful, Danny's business exploded in ways nobody expected. The shop, which had started as a small 7,000 square foot space, expanded to a massive 30,000 square foot facility by 2018. This incredible growth allowed Danny to take on bigger and more exciting projects than ever before. By 2020, his team of over 50 skilled workers was completing 75 custom builds every single year, compared to only a few before the show started. Clients were willing to wait up to 18 months for Danny's unique designs and were happy to pay incredibly high prices for his signature work. By 2019, the shop was earning over $15 million a year, which was a massive jump from the $500,000 it made in its very first year. Danny didn't stop there, though. He started selling Count's Customs branded merchandise like clothes and accessories, and by 2021, this added another $3 million to the business each year. In 2017, he also started selling rare car parts for classic restorations, which became 20% of the shop's total income by 2022. He even began teaching workshops and training new people in car restoration, making his shop a true leader in the entire industry. Danny's incredible skills also attracted famous clients who wanted his special touch on their vehicles. In 2016, Ozzy Osbourne hired him to create another custom chopper. This project took 6 months to complete and cost over $150,000. The bike had hand-painted bat wings and a powerful 124 cubic inch engine, making it an absolute masterpiece. In 2018, NBA superstar LeBron James asked Danny to restore a 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air. This project took 8 months and featured a purple and gold interior inspired by the Lakers, plus a top-of-the-line sound system. The finished car was worth over $500,000 and got featured in car magazines across the country. In 2020, Danny worked on a huge project for the Las Vegas Mob Museum. He restored 5 vintage Cadillacs complete with hidden compartments and bulletproof glass, just like mobsters used in the 1960s and 70s. The $2.5 million project made national headlines and even became a 2-hour TV special. Danny's list of famous clients includes Nicolas Cage, Tim McGraw, and Shaquille O'Neal. In 2022, he completed one of his most challenging projects ever, a $1 million restoration of John Lennon's psychedelic 1965 Rolls-Royce Phantom 5. The work took 2 full years and required finding rare parts from 3 different continents. But behind all this success, Danny was facing serious personal struggles that most fans never knew about. When Counting Cars started in 2012, it quickly became popular, but Danny's reality was much harder than what viewers saw on TV. He was working up to 18 hours a day, sometimes without a single day off for weeks at a time. By 2015, the incredible stress started showing on his body. He lost 35 pounds in just 3 months, and people around him became seriously worried about his health. Managing both the TV show and his business Count's Customs was completely overwhelming. In a 2018 interview, Danny admitted he had to reject about 37 custom jobs each month because of filming schedules. This cost his shop nearly $4.8 million a year, making the pressure even more intense. The struggles didn't stop there either. Danny often clashed with TV producers, especially over the show's staged drama. On March 3, 2019, things reached a breaking point when producers asked him to fake a conflict with a client. Frustrated and fed up, Danny walked off the set, shutting down production for 3 entire days and causing $180,000 in losses. The show also seriously affected Danny's personal life. He missed 8 important family events, including his nephew's wedding, because of filming commitments. In a podcast in 2020, He admitted how lonely and isolated the demanding schedule made him feel. Legal troubles followed him too. In 2014, a couple sued Counts Customs for $50,000, claiming they paid $111,000 for a 1967 Ford Mustang and $39,000 for restoration work, but never received their car. To make things worse, their lawyer revealed that an employee had promised their car would appear on the show and even offered $20,000 in free upgrades. This caused a media frenzy with over 27 news outlets covering the story. In 2017, things got even more serious when Counts Customs accused a former employee named Joseph Frontiera of stealing $75,000. He allegedly used company money for a Range Rover and plane tickets, even causing the shop to face a $188,000 penalty from the IRS. The worst hit came in 2021, when 17 former clients filed a massive $2.7 million lawsuit, accusing the shop of overcharging them by as much as 300%. Danny's reputation took a serious blow, and legal fees piled up, costing him over $1.2 million by 2022. He even considered selling part of his precious car collection just to cover the costs. Fans also began questioning whether the show was real or fake. In 2016, a leaked document revealed that many of those spontaneous moments, like Danny discovering cars for sale, were actually planned ahead of time. Fans felt betrayed, and online engagement dropped by 32% in just 1 month. Things got worse in 2018, when former cast member Scott Jones claimed that 70% of the drama was completely fake, including client reactions. A viral video in 2019 showed a crew member placing a "for sale" sign on a car just before Danny discovered it, forcing producers to admit that some parts of the show were staged. The backlash grew even stronger when a former client released audio recordings in 2020 of staff members coaching him to act disappointed during a car reveal. These controversies were so serious that the History Channel even considered canceling the show. Instead, they decided to enforce stricter rules, requiring at least 60% of the content to be genuine. The demands of the show also seriously hurt Danny's marriage to his wife, Corey. In 2017, the couple was seen arguing outside a restaurant, which sparked rumors of serious trouble in their relationship. In 2019, Corey admitted they hadn't taken a vacation together in 3 years and said she felt like a TV widow. By 2020, their marriage reached a breaking point, and Corey filed for separation, citing irreconcilable differences. Danny's friendship with his business partner Kevin Mack also suffered badly. Kevin said they barely spoke outside of work because Danny had become so isolated and focused on the show. The stress even affected Danny's behavior on set. Crew members noticed him becoming increasingly irritable, and one day he refused to leave his trailer after a heated phone call with Corey. But there was a turning point that changed everything. On Christmas Day 2020, Danny and Corey reconciled after a heartfelt conversation where he promised to prioritize their relationship above everything else. They announced in early 2021 that they would step back from running their rock bar Counts Vamped to focus on their marriage. Danny also made the difficult decision to reduce the number of Counting Cars episodes, cutting back from 26 to 16 per season. While some fans were disappointed, this decision allowed Danny to focus on his personal life and health for the first time in years. Then, on December 14, 2021, fans of Counting Cars were absolutely shocked. The History Channel quietly announced that the show was over after 10 seasons. The last episode, called Mustang Madness, had already aired without anyone knowing it was the finale. People were completely confused because the show still had good ratings and a huge fan base. The 10th season was also much shorter than usual, with only 12 episodes instead of the 26 to 30 episodes fans were used to. Nobody realized that this shorter season would actually be the end of everything. The timing seemed especially strange because the automotive industry was bouncing back from the pandemic, with car sales going up by 3% in 2021. It didn't make any sense to cancel a car show when the market was actually improving. Over the years, Counting Cars had become a true fan favorite. It started in August 2012 and ran for 153 episodes, showing amazing car restorations and custom builds. Fans loved the intense deadlines and challenges, like when Danny and his team had just 72 hours to restore a 1969 Camaro. They somehow pulled it off every time, which made the show incredibly exciting to watch. But when the show ended, many stories were left completely unfinished. For example, Danny had bought a 1956 Chevy Bel Air in Season 8 and promised to turn it into something incredible. Fans never got to see the final result, which made the sudden cancellation feel even more disappointing and incomplete. After the show ended, Danny did something very unusual. He went completely silent. For someone who loved interacting with fans on social media, this was shocking. After December 14th, he didn't post anything for 47 days. His last tweet, posted the day before the finale, said, "Tune in tomorrow night for an all-new episode of Counting Cars. You won't want to miss this one." He had no idea this would actually be the last episode ever. Danny even canceled an event he had attended every single year for 8 years, the Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale auction. Fans started to seriously worry about what was happening. The shop Counts Customs made things even more confusing on January 5, 2022, when they removed all mentions of Counting Cars from their website without any explanation. Fans flooded the shop with questions, but nobody got any answers. Some people thought Danny was under a contract that prevented him from talking about the cancellation. Others believed he might be working on a brand new show. A wild rumor even claimed he had sold the shop and retired completely. Meanwhile, memorabilia from the show became incredibly popular among collectors. A jacket Danny wore in Season 3 sold for $7,500 on eBay, which was way more than its usual value. Finally, on January 30th, 2022, Danny broke his 47-day silence. He posted a photo on Instagram of himself with a partially restored 1957 Chevy Bel Air. The caption said, "The road ahead may be uncertain, but the journey never ends. Stay tuned, friends." This post didn't explain much about what had happened, but it gave fans hope that he wasn't done with cars forever. But Danny decided to make a complete change in his life. He worked incredibly hard on losing weight and ended up shedding over 50 pounds. He started eating much better and exercising regularly. These changes didn't just make him physically healthier, they made him feel so much better mentally too. Danny has talked about how important it is to take care of yourself, and this message has inspired thousands of his fans. Now he looks more energetic and happier than ever, showing people that no matter how hard things get, it's never too late to completely turn your life around. Before this health transformation, Danny had faced an even more serious challenge. In 2017, he had dealt with addiction issues and got into legal trouble that shocked his fans. He was sentenced to 30 days in jail for a case involving controlled substances and a former worker at Counts Customs. Instead of hiding from this problem, Danny made the brave decision to admit to his struggles and completely change his life. He started working hard on staying sober and got help from his family, friends, and professionals who understood addiction recovery. Danny also began talking openly about his struggles, which made him much more relatable to people dealing with similar issues. Over time, he earned back the trust of everyone around him and became a powerful voice of hope for others fighting addiction. He now regularly shares messages of encouragement, letting people know that recovery is absolutely possible if they stay committed and have the right support system. His story shows how hard work, determination, and the right help can allow you to completely rebuild your life after serious setbacks. In 2024, Danny surprised absolutely everyone with a huge announcement that nobody saw coming. He said he was taking a complete break from the car business to focus on his band Count 77 for an entire year. This